Hey guys, welcome back. So today we are going to see about reconciliation loop in ArgoCD. Okay, so what exactly is reconciliation group? So normally, for example, whatever code it is, so we will have a developer. Okay, so we have a developer. Okay, so you will push the code to GitHub. Okay, you will push the code to GitHub, and then we have ArgoCD. ArgoCD. Okay, and then remember, guys. So ArgoCD is a pull-based mechanism. Okay, it is not push-based. It is pull-based. Okay, in case if you are using Jenkins or something, it will be like push-based. Okay, but we are not using this one. We are using pull-based mechanism. So what it will do, ArgoCD, it will pull whatever the changes it is there in GitHub. It will pull it into ArgoCD. Okay, so for example, in real production, we may have like hundreds of builds daily. Okay, we will have hundreds of builds which will be pushed into GitHub. Okay, so each changes will happen. So for example, if for each build, if it starts pulling the code and ArgoCD deploys it into the production environment, so in case if it is like a prod environment, if it directly pushes all these changes immediately, then when one job is running, the other might be pending or some other issues like load issues may happen, something, right? So what it will do, it will have something called reconciliation loop. Okay, so what exactly this reconciliation loop will do? So this reconciliation loop will continuously process where Argo CD repo server compares. Okay, so it will compare with the Git with the Kubernetes cluster. So in the production, we have this Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so it will compare this Kubernetes cluster with the GitHub. Okay, so which process will do the comparison? We have something called Argo CD repo server. Okay, repo server. Okay, so where exactly we can see that one? For example, if you come here, qctl get pods hyphen n argo cd. So we have something called ArgoCD repo server, right? So this one does the process of comparing the GitHub repository with the production Kubernetes cluster. Okay, so based on the changes, it will push. Okay, so it will not do immediately, right? So how long it will take? So by default, it checks every 3 minutes. Okay, so 3 minutes is the default timing. So just remember this in case if they ask in the interview, it will be useful. 3 minutes. Okay, by default it will be 3 minutes. Okay, so it will check every 3 minutes. So in case if you have to modify something, okay, for example, you don't want this to be 3 minutes because it will be so frequent, right? So you want it to change to 5 minutes, or else you have to change it to 10 minutes. Okay, then in case if you have to change this, where you have to change? So we have to change it in the config map. Config map. Okay, so in config map, we have something called timeout reconciliation. Okay, timeout reconciliation, just the same thing, timeout reconciliation. So you can just set the configuration there, so that it instead of checking every 3 minutes, it will start checking in the 5 or 10 minutes, like whatever duration you want based on the criticality of your application. You can just configure. Okay, now let's see like how to check that one. So um, see, let me try to create an application. We can create nginx project name default sync. So okay, this sync policy I will give it as manual. Okay, so in case if you give it manual, we have to manually sync each and every time, and then auto create namespace. In case the namespace is not there, it will automatically create the namespace. So repository, so I will just come here and then I will just give the repository. So come here, just copy the code, paste it here. Okay, and then what is the path? So path is nginx app, right? So I will just give this one. So just copy this nginx app dot slash nginx. Okay, so cluster, default cluster namespace. uh, okay, anyway, we have given auto create namespace, just try to create this one. Okay, let me refresh this one. Okay, so in the nginx app is created. Okay, but we see some error. Let's see what is the error. Okay, it is telling like namespace is missing. Okay, so we have given it to auto create the namespace. Let me try again. Okay, let me try to create namespace. QCTL create namespace nginx. Okay, so that is what we have given, right, in deployment, and we have not given any namespace. Let me just try to refresh this one. Even if we don't create the namespace, it will automatically create. Just I am showing it for now. Sync error. Okay. Okay, when you try to create, you just wait for some time because sometimes it is taking time to create the application. Okay, so it is there. So now when we check kubectl get pods -n nginx, so we will have the pod running. Okay, so similarly what will happen, so for example if you have to check the config maps, okay, because we have to check the reconciliation time, right? So in case if you have to check the reconciliation, we have to check the config map. So you have to just kubectl get config map. So config map you can give it as cm -n, and then we have to check in the ArgoCD namespace. Okay, so if you see, we have something called ArgoCD CM, right? So this is the config map where we define the reconciliation loops. Okay, so in case if you have to see the configuration of this one, just copy this one, just up arrow for the above command. So what we do, so we get the CM, and what is the name of the config map? It is paste ArgoCD-CM. Okay, so if we have to see the file, we have to give -o YAML. Okay, so by default it will be like this, so it will not have any values. Okay, so in case, okay, so if you see, we don't see anything like reconciliation time, right? So in case if we have to change that one, so we have to patch this config map. So how we can patch? So kubectl, just give the namespace -n argocd, and then we have to patch. Okay, patch, which what we have to patch? We have to patch the config map. Okay, and what is the name of the config map? ArgoCD -cm, ArgoCD config map. Okay, so what you have to patch? You have to patch, and we have to give the details of timeout reconciliation. So if you see here, we have given the timeout reconciliation, right? So just we have to pass that one. Okay, how we will pass? So -p, and then we have to pass it under the data section. Okay, so no need to worry about these things. For example, if you see um, ArgoCD reconciliation timeout. So if you come to the documentation, you will be able to see those things. Recon See, so this is the timeout reconciliation. Okay, so we have to look for this one. Let's check for the code whether we have any metrics applied here. Um, okay, is there anything related to patch? Okay, yeah, patch below demonstration. Okay, so here they have not mentioned. Let me check. So normally if you check, you will get how to patch this one. Okay, so for now anyway I know how to patch, so I will just continue. So here, so we have to just give -p for patching, and then you have to pass it in the data section. Okay, so just pass it in the data. So once the pass the data, so what is the config? The config should be reconciliation timeout. Okay, so timeout dot reconcile. Okay, so timeout dot reconciliation, and then just you can pass in the time. For example, if it is 60 seconds, or in case if it is like based on whatever your requirement, you can change. For example, I will just give 60 seconds. Okay, and then we have to just okay, so these are we will patch. If you enter, so if you see config map ArgoCD patched, so nothing to worry. So just kubectl namespace and then patch, and you have to patch the config map, right? So just patch the config map and then ArgoCD cm. This is the config map, right, which you have to patch. So in case if you have to patch, you have to pass it as -p, and it should be in the data section. So if you come here, where is this? So we will be creating a data section under this kind. Okay, so we can create a data section, and under data section, what is the configuration? It is timeout reconciliation. Okay, so if you come here, Control F, timeout. Yeah, this is the parameter. Okay, timeout reconciliation is the parameter which you have to use. So you can set the attributes like 60 seconds, 1 minute, 1 hour, 1 day, whatever it is. So you can set, and git by default it is 3 minutes. Okay, this is what we discussed, right? So by default it will be 3 minutes. Okay, just we have patched it. Now let me check the configuration again. So if you see under the data, we got timeout reconciliation is 60 seconds. Before it was supposed to be 3 minutes, right? Now it has automatically patched under data as timeout reconciliation is 60 seconds. Okay, so that the reconciliation will happen every 60 seconds. So what will happen? So in case if some changes are pushed to this one, so every 1 minute it will try to reconcile. Okay, now for example here we have the number of replicas equal to 1, right? Also, like in case if this has to work, we have to restart the repo server pod. Okay, so I will just edit this one, and then I will make the replicas equal to 3. Okay, for example, consider me as a developer. I am just making the replica count equal to 3. Okay, now I have updated. Okay, so what will happen? So this will change into 3 replicas. So now we have only one pod, right? It will change into 3 replicas after 60 seconds. Okay, before that, what has to be done? We have to restart the replica server, repo server. Okay, get pod -n ArgoCD. Okay, so this is the pod, right? So we have to do the rollout restart. So in case if you have to do the rollout restart, just copy this one. Okay, so we know, right? So in case if you have to do kubectl -n ArgoCD rollout restart deploy, so we can do the deployment one. So okay, unknowingly I have restarted everything. Get deploy, get deploy. Okay, so get parts. Okay, so anyway everything is restarted. So it will take like 60 seconds. Okay, so now we have one pod, right? So let's see whether it will change or not. So this reconciliation, normally it previously it used to be 3 minutes, right? Now it will be 60 seconds. Okay, so this is one of the important concepts for this. And then next thing, okay. So now, oh yeah, if you see, it has automatically changed to 3 parts. Okay, after 60 seconds, it has changed. Okay, so this is how it will take. So previously it was 3 minutes. Now within 16 seconds, it is changing. Okay, so next example which we have to see is webhooks. Okay, so webhooks is also like one of the important concepts. Okay, so for example, now you don't want this to happen every 6 minutes or something. Okay, so you want this to happen every few seconds, within few seconds when you implement this one. Okay, so what exactly is webhooks? In case if we have worked with Jenkins or other things, so we have used the webhooks, right? So what will happen? We will create a webhook. Okay, so we will create the webhook in GitHub by passing all the credentials, not credentials, even credentials, and then URL, everything. So in case if any changes happen, so it will reflect immediately here. Okay, so actually that it will not work in my system because of some restrictions, but you guys can try it out. Okay, so how we have to set it up, I will show you. Okay, so you can come to the repo which you where your code is there, and then you can just click on settings. Okay, when you click on settings, we have something called webhooks. Okay, so you can click on add webhook. Okay, so it may ask for some code. Let me just send a code via email. Okay, I'm just sending the code. Meanwhile, I will just pass and I will just enter the code. I have got my code. Okay, so this is done. Okay, once this is done, you have to enter the payload URL. Okay, so URL is nothing but your ArgoCD's URL. Okay, so I am using killer code, that's why I am not able to show you. But in case if you are using it on any of these two machines, then you can just pass it like this. Okay, just you can pass it like this, and then context type you can just give application JSON. Okay, not this one, application JSON, and then no need of giving any secrets. And then it is just the push events. Okay, in case if you want to send me if you click on send me everything, then you can select this one, but we are just need only push events. Okay, just select this one and then click add webhooks. Okay, so you will get this one, but for me it will not work. So if you select this one and then if you select recent deliveries, for me it has failed, but when you test it should pass. Okay, it will pass. Okay, so once this is done, so what will happen? We will be able to configure this in. Um, so whatever changes, like in case if some changes are happening in the GitHub, like it will be automatically reflected immediately in this ArgoCD repo. Okay. So when these webhooks will be very helpful, because by default 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is fine. Okay. But for some applications, okay. But for some applications, it will be required immediately, right, to sync. In case if you make changes, it should immediately reflect in your environment. Then what you can do, you can configure these webhooks. Okay. This will also be very important. So just you have to configure it like this. I am in my laptop, some restrictions are there. That's why I was not able to show. So you can practice this one. Okay, so both these concepts like webhooks and reconciliation is important. Okay, so this is how it will work. Okay, thank you. Let's see in the next class.